All right, in this quick look, we're going to explore how to create parametric meshes within Adobe After Effects. And this is a pretty new feature at the time of this recording. So let's have a little bit of a review here. So After Effects does have the ability and has had the ability for some time to use actual 3D models and 3D materials inside of a composition. So if I bring over a GLB file and I plop it into my project, we can see it right here. And I can bring that, of course, into my composition. And when I do that, I can make it the composition size. I can preview it. So we can see it's pretty small right now. Let's go ahead and make it comp size, larger than comp size rather. And that's pretty good. Okay. So I can hit OK. And what happens is we are using the advanced 3D rendering engine here. And we get this little gizmo where we can do things like adjust the X and Y properties, the rotation, the Z properties, and so on. So we've got this femur here. And there it is, right? It shows up as a layer. We can tell it's a 3D layer. And again, we've had this capability for some time now. So what's new is up top here in our toolbar. So here's all our camera stuff, right? And then we get over here and we have the rectangle tool, the pen tool, text tool, things like that. But right here in between, we have the ability to create these parametric meshes. So we can create toruses, cones, cylinders, spheres, planes, cubes, all the normal stuff that you would normally create as primitives inside of a 3D design program. So for instance, if I wanted to create a plane, I can click and drag and create this plane right here. And I can modify it. So now we have a plane, and I'm going to drop this down below everything else. And we can also, of course, add in some sort of material. So I've got some SBSARs here, that's substance materials. I've got a rocky rock surface. So let's go ahead and have a look. Now, if I click on my plane layer, we can see in the properties panel, which is of itself pretty new, we can actually switch to the mesh type here if we want to, change the width, the length, and some other properties depending upon the type. We can say whether it accepts lights, whether it casts shadows, what that color would be. But way down below here, we actually get the ability to influence the material. So very basic stuff, right? We can change something like the mesh color. So make it a little off-white, right? But we can also pull in a material. Now, right now, it shows default because that's all we've got right now is default. What we need to do to use this is actually pull in the substance archive file into our project bin, like so. And we can see that we get a little preview here. It shows up really nice. And then when we go back over here to material, we can choose that particular material. And then it shows up on our actual piece of content there, which is really, really nice. So of course, I could create additional types of parametric meshes here. So if I choose something else, like maybe a sphere, and I can click and drag to form that sphere. And I could influence the color of the sphere, just like we did with the plane. I can pull something in. So I've got a number of things here. I've got some leather, full grain. So I'll bring that into my project. And then once it's in the project, I can choose that particular material. And there we go. It gets applied to my content there. So pretty neat. And yeah, we can always change things around here. So we've got our camera settings. We have draft 3D, which we can turn on and off. But we can also, remember, add lights to this. Right now, we just have a default environmental light, which doesn't look all that interesting. But I can go ahead and, right, say I want a new light. And I can preview that light. It's always nice to be able to preview. Oh, well, for some reason, I can't preview right now. But yeah, we got different light types. So we have parallel, spot, point, ambient, and environment. I'm just going to do a basic spotlight here. And let's color it a little bit. And OK. And yeah, we want it to cast shadows. Fall off. Let's do smooth. And click OK. So there we go. We now have our light showing up in here as well. And you can see that makes a big difference. Now, this particular light, hello, we can move around using the gizmo as well because it's technically a 3D object too. So you can see the cone of direction here. So let's kind of get it like that. Just move that over. And of course, any of this stuff can also be animated. So you can set keyframes on all this stuff and animate them across your composition. So let's go ahead and choose our sphere here. And if I want this more in the light, of course, I can move it into the light. I can shift its Z position. So here it's getting pushed through that plane layer. Lots and lots of different options here for working inside of After Effects. And yeah, if you just want to modify, create some spheres flying around, things like that, that's perfectly fine. I think it's really useful for what I've done here with our background. So just using a plane like that is very, very useful. Let's increase that radius of our light so we can see more stuff. And we can change the intensity, right? So have that really, really well lit. Increase the cone. And of course, we can continue to use these gizmos to rotate and all the rest. But yeah, basically that's how you use parametric meshes inside of After Effects. And as you can see, you can use them along with 2D layers, use them along with imported models, substance materials, lights, and anything else to design your compositions.